Today, in this video, we are going to look at our Google Sheets Broker Connector spreadsheet, and specifically, we are going to look at pivot tables. And I entitled this Pivot Tables Made Easy because one thing to realize is pivot table can be easily worked with. It can be extremely easy to work with pivot table once you have the right foundation. And this is what we are going to look at today with the spreadsheet. One thing to remember is when you set up the data correctly, and which is by design what I had in mind when I created this tool, then it's just a matter of a few clicks to create your pivot tables. Let's jump right into the tool to see how this is done. Okay, so the first thing you need to be familiar with when you look at the spreadsheet, and we can go over this together if you're interested, are the three bottom tabs here, namely transaction, netlick, and P&L. These are the underlying tables that present the data to the user. And from this data, you can create pivot tables, either from the transaction, from netlick and buying power, or from the P&L, which is a realized profit and loss. Okay, we'll look at an example today. And imagine you would like to create a specific view for your UOTS trading, let's say. Then you would go into the transaction tab. One thing to note is the way I set up the records or the table here is similar to what you see in databases. So you've got a header, like row 1, which has the names of the different columns. Moreover, each column has a data type that is appropriate. For instance, the date is a data type in this column. This is a dollar amount, etc., etc., a number, etc. So this is important when you want to report on the data. And there's the second thing that is extremely important beside the header is that every single row is a record, is a transaction, and therefore you'll see that I separate the buy to close or sell to open, buy to close orders by line. So at first you might well think, okay, this is difficult to read, etc., but this is done with a specific reason, and the reason is it's extremely easy to report on the data once it's laid out this way. This is how databases are, regular databases, SQL databases, for instance, are recording data, facts data. All right, so let's go about creating a pivot table for this particular transaction. Imagine we would like to look at the number of open transactions, open put debit spread and naked puts for our UOTS strategy. All right, so all we need is select the data, then go to Insert Pivot Table. This is pretty much all it takes. All right, let's click on this button and say, I'd like to insert this new pivot table in a new spreadsheet, in a new tab. Okay, let's create. Then you're presented with a UI, user interface. It allows you to drag and drop things that you'd like to see. So in our case, let's say we say the number of open trades for our your strategy. So what we need to look at here is definitely the trade strategy, and we'll put this in the row field. So trade strategy, we drag it across and paste it here. Trade strategy, so we can see all of the different strategies I've traded throughout the year. Now I'm settling on UOTS only. Second, we want to look at values. What are the values we are looking at? So this is a quantity still open. Okay, so let's have a look here. Quantity is still open. We have this field. Let's drag it in the value field, and it will appear in here. Okay, so in pivot tables, you have rows, you have columns, and in blue here, you have values or things that you aggregate. So right now, it's not exactly what we want. We want to see the number of open trades per strategy and based on whether it's we sold or bought. Let's also include the trade category in the as a subcategory here. So trade category, I'm dragging this across here, and now I've got, you can see different hedges and different 112s, different things, yields, etc. Put debit spread, short put, etc. Okay, we are not there yet. I'd like to see this data sliced by the action, and you'll see what it means in a second. And I'll put the action in the columns category. All right, let's find this action, put it in the column, and then now we can start to see some trends and see. All right, buy to open, expiration, sell to open, etc., which is interesting because now you can say, okay, how many of my trades expired, blah blah blah. So here you can see you can easily filter things out by exploring your data set. So all right, so let's review the last thing we haven't seen in pivot tables, which are filters. So in this filter, I don't want to see any quantity still open which is equal to 0. So let me put a filter on and say remove either blanks or values that are 0. So I'm going to remove this. All right, now it's starting to be better. I'm going to filter this where there is no action either. This is like T-bill, I don't really care about that. Let's remove the blanks when there is an action which is blank. All right, I've got hedges on, I've got yields on. Let me just increase the size of this. And let me remove these grand totals and totals which don't really make sense. Just remove this, remove the totals, remove all of the totals. And here we are. These are the two main strategies that I'm still trading. Yields and hedge. You can see I've got 6 short puts on, 30 put debit spread still on, 12 shorts in my hedges, 20 too long. Here you are in less than a minute. I didn't time it, but in a very short amount of time, I was able to create my own pivot table. And if I ever wanted to change anything, I would go to this pivot table, click on the little edit button, and either add things, remove things, move it around. Like, if I were to move things around, then it will change the order of these things. And the good thing about pivot tables, you can't really get wrong. I mean, you can mess it up, obviously, but you are not going to mess up the underlying data. So that's it in a nutshell. Pivot tables made easy. I hope this was useful. Again, if you want to know more, get to our website to get access to the tool, join the Discord discussion if you'd like to discuss with me live and other team members. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching.